Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock on Saturday, April the 19th. I'm Ben Leo, and this is a very special edition of Easter Saturday Live. Coming up... Thank you, Tatiana, and good afternoon to you all at home. Welcome along for the next 3 hours to Easter Saturday Live, a very special
I just watched
Easter
it and I was
afternoon
like...
show to mark a very special week, Holy Week, of course. Today is Holy Saturday, the day before Easter, and I'm delighted now to be joined by the priest at St Michael's Church in Newhaven, the Reverend Marcus Mack. Marcus, good afternoon. Thank you for your company on this special day and this special weekend. Why is it so special? Indeed, not just for Christians, but for people, I guess, like me, who's not a devout Christian, but I've always had an affiliation, I guess, that's a way to describe it, a relationship with Jesus.
Hi, Ben. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, for Christians and for many people around the world, this weekend is such a special time. We are remembering and celebrating the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Yesterday, as you know, was Good Friday, the day when Jesus was crucified and publicly murdered on the cross. It's a strange thing to call the day good when a perfect, innocent God-man was unjustly executed. For Christians, it's a kind of a bittersweet moment. Bitter because it shows us the pinnacle of human evil, the lengths we were willing to go to cancel out our Creator. We didn't want God in our lives, so we kind of got rid of him. He didn't deserve to die, suffering as a criminal. So for Christians and for many people, there will be an element of grieving and mourning over this injustice, over his death. But his death was also sweet because he willingly gave up his life so we could live. It was his plan from the very beginning to offer himself up as a good and perfect sacrifice. He was condemned in our place for our offenses against God, so we could be forgiven. And with his arms open wide, the cross shows the pinnacle of God's love for us and the sovereignty of God to use evil to bring about a great salvation. But this wasn't the end of the story. Pretty much everyone thought Jesus' mission had failed and death had defeated him. But tomorrow, Easter Sunday, Christians and others will joyfully celebrate Jesus rising from the dead. Jesus conquered death by experiencing it and then overcoming it. And 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18 tells us something of what this weekend means. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God. God's best gift to us, to humanity, is himself. Because of what Jesus has done, our broken relationship with God can now be restored, and we can now enjoy God and live with God as we were meant to, living with a sure and certain hope that there is life with God after death. So this is why, Christians and so many other people get excited about the Easter weekend, because it reminds us of this wonderful act in history, because it changes everything.
And Easter Sunday, again, I'll say I'm not a devout Christian. I'd probably be a very bad one if I was. I don't attend church regularly, although I was married in a church a couple of years ago now. What does it mean, Easter Sunday, in terms of the other holidays? Is the Easter celebration bigger for Christians than, say, Christmas?
Well, Christmas is when, as we know, Christ was born. Without Christmas, there wouldn't be an Easter weekend. So in a sense, they're both equally important. But for Christians, what Christ has done on the Easter weekend is accomplish the plan of salvation and open the door for us to have a relationship with God. With Christmas, Christ was born to accomplish that plan, and so he's fulfilled it with his death and resurrection. So it brings everything together. It completes his mission and his task to save people and to reunite us with God.
Yeah, it's. I think for me, I do prefer Easter to Christmas. I don't know about the viewers at home, but it's been a family tradition from my mother, actually, when I was little. Every Easter Sunday, we'd wake up, there'd be a nice spread of croissants and eggs, chocolate eggs, of course, but normal eggs and soldiers we used to love as kids. And it always fondly sticks in my mind that I think I do prefer the Easter celebrations to Christmas in itself. But Reverend Marcus Mack, thank you so much for your company. We'll catch up again at the top of the next hour. Tatiana, and hello to you at home. Welcome back to Easter Saturday Live with me, Ben Leo. And today, of course, Christians are marking Holy Saturday, the day before Easter. Well, I'm joined by the priest at St Michael's Church in New Haven, the Reverend Marcus Mack. And Reverend, thank you for coming back. I want to ask you why you personally and Christians believe in the resurrection.
Yeah, sure thing, Ben. As you know, tomorrow is Easter Sunday. There's going to be a joyful celebration of an event that changed the lives of Jesus' first followers and continues to change lives today. The resurrection is why I and many others believe that Christianity is true and confirms that Jesus is who he said he claimed to be. I just want to highlight one key piece of evidence that convinced me that the resurrection must have happened. When we read the gospel accounts of Jesus' death and resurrection, we see something very interesting. When Jesus was captured by the authorities and put on trial, all of his followers abandoned him. They took off, running away in fear of their lives. When Jesus was captured and then put to death, for them, it was game over. The mission and movement had ended, even though Jesus had said on a number of occasions that he was going to die and rise to life 3 days later. Then on Sunday morning, what we see is people who were as skeptical as we are. They were not stupid. They knew that dead people don't just come back to life. Mary Magdalene, for example, at the empty tomb, assumed Jesus' body had been taken away. And when Jesus appeared to her alive and well, she thought Jesus was the gardener. Then there was Thomas, who has unfortunately been nicknamed Doubting Thomas, who, when told that Jesus was alive, said he wouldn't believe until he could see the nail marks and put his fingers where the nails were. They were skeptical and needed a great deal of persuading. Once they experienced the risen Jesus and were fully convinced he had risen from the dead, they courageously spread the message that Jesus was alive, many of them losing their lives for doing so. There is no other explanation to explain how they went from being cowards to being courageous witnesses and give up their lives for Jesus. If they knew the resurrection was a lie, it doesn't make much sense that they would die for something that they made up when they ran away fearing for their lives before Jesus was crucified. So the only explanation was that they witnessed something extraordinary. They must have witnessed Jesus alive. And if we think about it, Christianity would not exist if the resurrection did not happen. And so my faith, our faith, isn't based on hoping for the best or wishful thinking, but on the certainty of a historical event that actually happened, guaranteeing a future of a new life forever. And the good news of this Easter weekend is that the hope of life after death is open to everyone who receives Jesus as a free gift.
Beautiful. Reverend Marcus Mack, thank you very much for that. Really appreciated your company over the past 3 hours. And I know our viewers have as well. Lots of emails coming in praising you for your beautiful words on this Holy Saturday. That's the Reverend Marcus Mack.